And a very pleasant morning to you all as we log on again for another session of Growing Up with Values with Aunty Drups. And welcome to you all on this beautiful Sunday morning as usual as we get into another session of values. And again, before we start whatever it is that we are going to do today, let us sit very comfortably on the floor. I think you all take a little while before you get there. So could you all please sit on the floor? I don't want to call any names, right? Because you're idling. Okay, so now that we are all seated, let us gently close our eyes and we are going to put our imagination at work as we think of a beautiful scenery where we are seated in the middle of a lovely, lovely plantation of just fruit trees. Have you ever been to a plantation with fruit trees and all the fruits are bearing lovely fruits and you are getting all the smells from the fruits and you are sitting there just taking it all in? We are taking in all the smells of the fruits. Ripe fruits, green fruits are on the trees, but you are getting the smell of all those ripe fruits. And it is a wonderful smell. And we have never really noticed it, but it is really a beautiful sight. In our imagination, we can just think of what this is. And we sit there happily wondering what our next step will be when we open our eyes and we go to have some of those lovely fruits. And now we gently open our eyes and later you can have some of those lovely fruits. We open our eyes as we begin another session of human values. And today our story is going to take us to a small family, mother, father, and just one child, and his name was Chris. And the family was pretty well off. They had good means of living. And this one child, Chris, was very spoiled and pampered because you know what, one child around, parents usually tend to throw all their love in that direction. And Chris had absolutely no worries in his life. He got whatever he wanted. He ate whatever he wanted. He did whatever he wanted. But that was not really good for him because with that freedom, he had no reason to think of what can I do with my life later on in life. And he was not thinking, he did not have a goal in life. He just lived one day at a time and he became very lazy and he would sleep a lot of the time. And when he was not going to school, he would just lie with his friends. And all in all, he had a very lazy, spoiled and pampered life, having his parents do his bidding. He always got what he wanted. He had people around to help him with whatever he was, whether it is clothes to be washed and prepared, whether it is meals, whatever it is, he had it all done for him. But he was getting older, and when you get older, you have to decide what you want to do with your life. But Chris had no intention of ever thinking of what he was doing in life because he just had it all. But his parents were becoming very concerned, and especially his father, to see his young son growing up there and not knowing what his future is going to be like. So his father used to give advice to everyone, and they would take their advice. But that did not work for Chris. Chris never paid attention to any serious talk with his father. And his father was just hitting his head against a wall and not hearing, not paying attention. So the father said, to himself, well, Chris is becoming becoming older, and he has to have a goal in life. So I am going to give him something to do. So his father packed a bag for Chris with his clothes and lots to eat and a map, and called Chris to his side. And he said, Chris, I have something for you. This is a map. And on the map there's an X marked. And this map will take you to a place where you will find a treasure. So Chris became excited. How would you all feel if you were told to go and find a treasure? You all would wonder, what is there in that treasure chest for me? And you would be excited, and you'll tell your friends about it, and you'll want to go there immediately before anyone else goes there. So Chris was very, very excited at his father's suggestion. And he said, yes, I'm going to go there. But without Chris knowing, his father had already spoken to people that were living on the way to that treasure map, on the treasure map. Because, Chris was so protected in life, you don't know what could happen, but he didn't know anything about his father's plan and what he told his friends. So Chris was very excited. He took his bag with his clothes and his food and whatever else he might need, and he set out. His father too was very excited for Chris. So on the way, Chris was very much in a hurry because he wanted to get to the treasure first. He didn't want anybody to get there before him. So on the way, when his supply was kind of short, he would get mangoes, he would get fruits from these trees nearby. He would drink water from the springs, and he would just continue. Very quickly he would continue. And on his way, when it was nightfall, people would tell him to come and spend the night and resume his journey next morning. And he would do that. So he got help along the way. He got fruits from on the trees, he got water from in the springs and the rivers, and he continued on his way. So after 1 or 2 days, he finally reached where the X was marked on the map. And there was a big tree, and under that tree, he saw a hole in the ground where there was an X marked on his map. So he realized, he said to himself, oh my gosh, what is happening? Somebody had reached here before me and taken away the treasure. And he looked around, and there was no treasure in sight. And you can imagine how he felt. After walking this for a long time, he finally reached the spot and no treasure. How would you all feel if you were in Chris' position? So he was very disappointed, and what could he do? He had to return home without the treasure. He was definitely in a hurry to get to the place where he was going to get that treasure. But when he did not get the treasure, how do you think he felt? Slowly he was walking back home, but not with all the enthusiasm that he had when he was coming to find the treasure. So he was in no hurry. So on the way back, he noticed the stream, and he would drink water, and the springs, and the clean water that was just flowing out of the springs. And he realized to himself, my gosh, I took water from that spring when I was going there, and I didn't even notice how clean and refreshing this water was. And I use it to sap my face as well. And this spring is just flowing water for anyone, but no thought of what this is going to get in return. And he appreciated the fact that he got water from the spring. And as he was walking, he saw the mango tree that he got mangoes from on the way to the treasure. He sat under the mango tree, and he felt a cool breeze, and he saw all the mangoes. He admired the lovely mangoes on that tree. And he told himself again, what a beautiful tree, what lovely mangoes. And I have helped myself so much to those mangoes. And I never really appreciated the fact that they're there just waiting for someone to have them. And he realized the mango tree gave of its fruit without expecting anything in return. And as he was walking back, he met the same farmer. And the farmer asked him, "Why are you looking that way? Why do you have a look of disappointment on your face?" So he told the farmer, he said, "My mission here was to find some treasure. And when I got to the spot, there was none. And I am so disappointed." The farmer said, "Well, it is late now, and don't worry. Come, have a meal with us and spend the night, and you can continue your trip tomorrow morning." So the farmer accepted him with open arms, and he went and he sat down. And the farmer was not very rich or anything, but he had enough food to share around. And of course, Chris noticed the love in that family. They were not very rich, but they shared so much love, and they shared their meal with him, and they loved having him around. So Chris was very happy, and he told him, he expressed his thanks to the farmer who was so helpful to him, and he did not even think about that when he was going, but the farmer was helpful both back and to the place and back from the place. So these little things had him thinking, and as he reached home, he went to his father and he said, "Father, I have a disappointment for you." He said, "What is wrong?" He said, "I did not get the treasure. Somebody reached there before me and got the treasure, so I am very, very sorry. I took that trip in vain." He said, "No, you did not take that trip in vain. Actually, there was no treasure. There was no treasure chest with gold or anything like that. All I wanted for you to do was to get yourself excited, do something, and recognize what there is around you. You never recognized anything before, but since that trip, I see that you have changed." And he appreciated what his father was telling him and what his father was trying to do for him. Instead of just accepting everything, Chris was able to recognize and appreciate all those things around him. So his father said, "Yes, you have learned your lesson. Now you are going to become a man, and you're going to know what you want to do in life, and you'll not take things for granted anymore." Right? So Chris changed from being a lazy, spoiled, pampered person to someone who was going to know his goal in life and work towards it. And now I know that you all are listening to the story, and let me see how well you have listened and you have understood the lessons. So I'm going to ask you some questions now. And first of all, we're going to talk to Sanjeev. Sanjeev, what was the name of the boy in the story? Yeah, that's an easy one, right? His name was Chris. Gitanjali, how many brothers and sisters did Chris have? Right. Right. He was an only child, so he was one. Now, how would you describe Chris, Sanjay? How would you describe Chris? He was he was lazy, he was spoiled, and very, very pampered. Viresh, why do you think he was that way? Viresh. Yes, right. His parents had enough money to keep him spoiled, but that wasn't how it was supposed to be. Now, what concern did his father have, Sharvi? Right. He was concerned that he did not have a goal in life. Sarvesh, what did his father decide to do? Sarvesh? He would send him on a treasure hunt. Good. Pravir. Now, how did Chris react to his father's plan? Pravir? He was very, very excited. Who helped him along the way? Sakshi. Sakshi, who helped him along the way? Yes, the father's friend. But did Chris know about this? No, Chris didn't know about this. What happened when he became thirsty? Nishish. He would drink water from the spring. And what did he have to eat when his supplies ran out? Arna? He had all the fruits around him. Now, the main thing, what happened when he reached the spot marked X? Abby. Right, he saw that the ground was dug into, but there was no treasure. How did he feel? How did he feel? Levan, how did he feel? He was very, very disappointed. He was horrified that someone reached there before him. Now, how would you have felt if you were in his position? I think you all would have felt very, very disappointed. Now, what did he realize about the things around him? After he went and he got no treasure, and he was on his way back, what did he think? What did he think of the spring? Kajal, what did he think of the spring? Right, the spring gives off its water with nothing in return. What do you think of the trees as well? Ravina? Right, the trees gave off its fruits without asking for anything in return. Now, what did he think about the farmer and his family? Rajiv? They were very kind to him and they had a lot of love. Right. Okay, so when he got back home, what did his father tell him? Yes, he was glad that he realized all the good things about the trees, things of nature. And in your own life, do you appreciate all those things? There are lots of things that we can appreciate in our lives without doing it. So we'd like to share a song with you. About the things that we take for granted in our lives. Okay, and the words are very simple. I can see all the beautiful things in the world, the flowers, the trees, the rivers, the mountains, the people so kind and caring. It's a wonderful world we live in. Okay, and it's a simple song, and let us join together and sing it. Each line is repeated twice. I can see all the beautiful things in the world. I can see all the beautiful things in the world. The flowers, the trees, the rivers, the mountains. The flowers, the trees, the rivers, the mountains. The people so kind and caring. The people so kind and caring. It's a wonderful world we live in. It's a wonderful world we live in. Again. Things in the world. I can see all the beautiful things in the world. The flowers, the trees, the rivers, the mountains. The people so kind and caring. People so kind and caring. It's a wonderful world we live in. It's a wonderful world we live in. It's a wonderful world we live in. All right, and now I would just like to point out to you some of the things that we take for granted. We have treasures in our lives which we discover if we take the time to think. God gave us treasures in the form of the air that we breathe, the rains that provide us with water, the warmth of the sunshine, the trees around us, the beautiful flowers, birds, butterflies, etc. The treasures include our friends that we have, even strangers who have helped us on the way. But the greatest treasure of all is the love and comfort and security of a family. Now, can you imagine what life will be without these things? We take these all for granted. We don't say, thank you, God, for the rain that you sent us. Thank you, God, for the fruits that you provide us with. Thank you, God, for these little things in our life. Let us count our blessings. Let us appreciate and never take for granted what we have, however small it may be. Let us be thankful for it all. It is not uncommon to find parents who love children in a somewhat misguided way, because we all want to prepare our children for life. But in doing that, we forget and we spoil them and we pamper them, and it just changes what their lives should be like. We don't want our children to work as hard as we did. As parents, our little son and daughters, we don't want to push them so hard, so we don't have them work as hard as we did. We show this by showering them with all sorts of gadgets that they ask for. We shower them with things like cars, electronic gadgets. We buy land and we even build their homes for them. Their lives must be stress-free. Are we doing them a favor? Are we doing them a favor when we provide everything for them?
Parents.
Right, we're not. So parents, we have to think of what we are doing when we provide everything for our children. When you work hard for something, you really, really appreciate it. And in growing our children up, we need them to work hard as well. We are doing them a disservice by just providing, and not letting them do their hard work themselves. You are parenting your child from learning that rewards can come from effort. We do not allow them to show how to earn. They don't learn how to set goals in life and strive to achieve them. We deny them the opportunity of becoming strong and focused, of being able to survive in a competitive world. Competition is great out there, and we have to teach them how to survive that, to be able to think for themselves. We don't encourage them to develop self-will, self-esteem, and self-confidence. We don't teach them how to appreciate and value the things that we give them. Things that we take for granted. Things like our parents and our teachers. Now, a lot of you all have just recently gotten through with your C exams. You got into secondary schools. How many of us have remembered to say, Mommy and Daddy, thank you for all your support in my time of need, which is the time before you wrote your C exam? How many of you all sent a little note to your teachers to say, thank you, miss, or thank you, sir, for all that effort that you have put into my success? So these little things, check back yourselves and see if you did that. If you did it, I strongly recommend you. I commend you. If you didn't, you have something to do. Thank those around you who gave you support and who spent time with you and lend an extra hand for you to be successful. And all those are your grandparents. Two words that mean nothing to you but are very, very effective. The words please and thank you. Appreciate people for what they are. Always, when you're asking for something, you use a please, and when you get it, you express it with thank you. Appreciate people, appreciate things around you. Now, people usually appreciate things that they pay for. If you have to buy a book, you put out $100, you get your book, you appreciate that. If somebody gives you something, however, usually you just take it. Oh, that's a big thing. I got it for free. But you appreciate things that you get for free as well. It's the same thing. You say thank you for whatever it is you receive. It is always, always polite to use the word thank you. It expresses you as an individual, and you show your appreciation for whatever you are receiving. Okay, so I would just like to congratulate some of you all, some who I know passed the CA exam. First of all, Mandela Gibbs, he passed for St. Joseph's College. Congratulations, Mandela, and of course your mommy Whitney. She sends congratulations and lots of love and all best in your future school. Abigail Rambaran, and she passed for Lakshmi Girls. She's the daughter of Lisa. Lisa, her mom, sends so much love, and Amrit, and baby Amrit as well, and the rest of the family. Arna, lots of love from Arna. And Anita, Savi Priyag, lots of love and all the best in Lakshmi. Varun Maharaj, who is Juliana and Sunil's son. He passed for Presentation College and ex-pupil of Shagonas Government Secondary. And Akhilesh Ramanarayan, I told you about him last week. He passed for Vishnu Boys. Akhilesh, all the best from your grandmother and your sister, Zita and Ashri, and all the best at Vishnu Boys. Niran would have been very happy to have been teaching you there, but he's not there right now. Okay, so lots of love and all the best in your new school. So all the C children, and if your child has achieved something, please just send me a little note and I will highlight it on this program. And 2 words I would like you all to remember after today's class. The word what word is that? All right, appreciation and gratitude. 2 important words that I want you all to remember during the course of the week. Appreciation and gratitude. And before we close, I would like to join in singing this song one more time. Okay? In the world, I can see all the beautiful things in the world. The flowers, the trees, the mountains, the fruit. The flowers, the trees, the rivers, the mountains. The people so kind and caring. The people so kind and caring. It's a wonderful world we live in. It's a wonderful world we live in. I can see all the beautiful things in the world. I can see all the beautiful things in the world. The flowers, the trees, the rivers, the mountains. The flowers, the trees, the rivers, the mountains. The people so kind and caring. The people so kind and caring. It's a wonderful world we live in. It's a wonderful world we live in. It's a wonderful world we live in. And we have come to the end of today's session, and I would like to thank my cousin Pip for sharing this story with me, today's story, the father and the son, and of course my husband, Uncle Randir, for making a few changes to the story. So thank you both. And until next week, same time, 11 o'clock next Sunday morning. Lots of love, and remember the two words, appreciation and gratitude. And show your appreciation and your gratitude for those around. So until we meet again next week, signing off. Love you all. Stay safe.